So what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate, inviting me. This is nice. This is nice.
What's going on, guys? This is Mike, the 1% Mindset Podcast. I got my man Jameer with me. How you doing, brother?
Blessed and highly favored, man. I can't complain. I appreciate you bringing me out on this beautiful day. You know what I'm saying? Out here for this nice little conversation that we about to have.
Definitely. So I kind of want to start off. I want to kind of go through a little bit of your journey. I know that you started. You were working at Hot 97. You've interviewed a lot of great people. Kind of tell me a little bit about how you got into that.
Okay. Well, I actually started with WBLS. Okay. And that was about 5 years ago, 2012, with BLS. I told myself I wanted to work at a radio station, nothing else. And right before I got a job in Chicago with the Judge Mathis show as a producer, I got a call from BLS. I applied online, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really think you apply online, you don't know anybody, that these things can work out. But I got a call, but I had a first interview, second interview. I was about to have my last interview before I went out to Chicago. And I got a call from BLS. And I knew right there, I was like, I'm gonna make this opportunity work. And, I didn't even have the job, but I knew I wasn't going to Chicago. So I did the interview. I know, this is the pressure was on.
It's cold there.
It's a little windy there. Pressure was on. So I actually do the interview, hour-long interview, and went well. I got a job as a part-time videographer at WBLS. And in 2014, WBLS parent company, WBLS sold itself to this parent company, Hot 97. And we were already in the same building, same floor, and we merged together. So I kind of got grandfathered in from BLS to Hot 97, working with both. And I did that for about 5 years.
Nice. So through that process, you were able to, host, interview a lot of people.
Yeah.
Kind of tell me, so the one that I think about the most is you interviewed Day 26.
I did.
And you were a you were a member for a little bit.
It was Day 26 and a half. And the guys are good, I just didn't go on all the tour dates that were promised, guys. I'm just saying, the first leg, second leg, and the last leg of the tour, I wasn't there.
You wasn't there. Did you make it to any of the tour?
I saw someone's leg. I didn't make it to a leg, but I saw somebody's leg. It was Rob or somebody, But Day 26, it was, it was one of my favorite interviews to do. And I kind of got into that just because that was always what I wanted to do and I knew I wanted to do. So by going into radio, I had some kind of skill, which was video, interestingly enough, because radio is transcended now, just not being over the air, but to digital platforms like most mediums are. So I knew that there was a certain skill that I possessed. I wasn't really good, but I worked hard and I knew enough. Until one day, like a personality couldn't interview somebody, and I had been telling everybody, like, I want to interview, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do, and I did it. And they started to allow me to host and interview a little more with celebrities, or be a part of digital shorts and projects. So by the time I left, everybody kind of knew Jameer is not a videographer first, at all measures, but he is a on-camera host and a talent. Okay,
so I was gonna ask you, what was one of your most memorable interviews? I know you said Day 26, so I want to kind of transition a little bit and say, how did you, when you meet celebrities, or I guess for the standard person meeting a celebrity, meeting a fan, there's a level of whether you're shy or whatever that emotion is. How did you, when you first did your first interview with a celeb? First of all, who was it? Who was your first big name that you interviewed?
First big name was K. Michelle.
K. Michelle.
And it was weird because I did it, but it was during a live stream. So like the immense pressure was on. Like it was a live stream that was sponsored by Lexus, and that was like my first real big interview with K. Michelle, and I was like pretty nervous. Just get nervous. Of course, I was nervous, and I think looking back at that, I was more focused on what kind of questions that I was gonna ask her instead of being focused on like an organic conversation. And that's just because I wanted to be the best. I wanted just to make sure that her interview was memorable, and I wanted people to really think about it. And I had all these big words written down I knew I was going to use. And, you know, the interview, while it went well, I know now, looking back on it, what could I have done better?
Of course.
And that's, you know, actually getting to know the person before the cameras roll, asking genuine questions, and kind of making it an interesting and fun experience, because you got to think about it. People do interviews that are celebrities. They do interviews every day. They got press for whatever project. They hear the same questions every day, you know, as long as they're doing press. So if I could redo that interview, I would talk more about her personally. I would ask more personal questions, more fun questions, instead of just like the standard questions. So yeah.
So with that interview, did that? I guess it was that big interview that allowed you to do these other interviews.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you feel? I guess throughout that process, I know you said you were nervous. A lot of the pressure was on, but kind of just really walk us through that actual feeling, right? Because when you're faced with pressure, you know, pressure busts pipes. You're either gonna succeed or you're gonna fail.
Or you're not. Yeah.
What was that mindset to really just get in that comfortable space? What did you do to get comfortable to kind of flow?
I think in general, as far as being an interviewer, you have to realize that, and this is what I've had to learn as well, that this is a selfless job. As an interviewer, you don't go in trying to be the star. Don't nobody care, all right? They come there for the interviewee. And then, after you do well and work your way up, and people start to get to know you, then they come there for you. So I feel like a lot of the pressure was alleviated right away. Once I started thinking like that, a lot of that nervousness just went into being anxious. Like, how can I make this better than any other interview that I've done, that she's done so far? How can I make this better? And while I don't feel like I accomplished that with that particular interview, what I will say is that I felt like it was a step in the right direction. I've learned to be now a better assist man, because that's what interviewers are. All you want to do is throw the perfect alley-oop to a LeBron and have some amazing reaction from your audience.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So once you can be in a spot where you can relinquish the fact that this is not your show, you're here because of this people. You're good at what you do, don't get me wrong. Now, you competed for the title too. You D-Wade in this D-Wade and LeBron situation, but understand that this is the star, this is why they're coming.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to speak a little bit about branding. So obviously, as you were doing that, you were able to brand. You used to go, and I don't know if you still do, Jay Lorenzo, right?
Yeah.
You were Jay Lorenzo a little bit.
I was Jay Lorenzo, yes I was.
So now you're, I haven't really heard Jay Lorenzo too much anymore.
No,
now it's just
and you will not hear it anymore.
Okay, so where did that name come from, and why the brand change? Why did you go from Jay Lorenzo back to
Jameer Pond?
Your name?
All right, well, one, Jay Lorenzo kind of popped up on the spot. I was doing this internet radio show called The Takeover with shout out to Robin J, you know, my homie who kind of really gave me my first insight and radio job outside of college. And we were working on the show together, and right before, she was like, well, what's going to be your name? And my middle name is Lorenzo. And just in case, like, you know, people was like, well, where'd that come from? My middle name is Lorenzo. And of course, my name is Jameer. So I just took Jay Lorenzo. I thought it was cool. Looking back on it, it's kind of cringeworthy. Just because, like, I felt like that wasn't me. But I hated my name. I wasn't comfortable with Jameer Pond for some reason. It was just always like, that's weird. You know, what does that represent? But as I started growing as a personality, as a man, I realized that my name was unique, just like my style is, and just like I am. And you gotta, the biggest part of why people really bang with people's brands is brand authenticity, right? Because
don't miss that.
Yeah, don't miss that, my friend. You know, it's important to be authentic in your brand. And I feel like in 2018 we shared so much that kind of Jay Lorenzo moniker had to come down in order for Jameer Pond to grow. And that's what I feel like. Ever since I went back to Jameer Pond, like, I just feel like, you know, one day a light switch came on.
When did that switch take place?
I don't remember. I really don't remember the exact day, but I just remember, like, you know, this Jay Lorenzo thing is not sticking. I don't even really, like, it was just a superhero cape I was putting on, but I wasn't fighting no crime. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't hitting until I became comfortable myself, and Jameer Pond just kind of reemerged and then just overly exuded this kind of confidence that I feel like now I possess.
Okay. So now you know, you did WBLS,
yes.
97.
Yeah.
You've transitioned out of that space.
Transitioned, yeah.
So you transitioned out of that space. What's Jameer Pond doing now? It's funny, we're outside, right? So you probably hear these weird noises.
It's a lot of, you know, we're by boats.
Yeah, we're by boats.
We don't own any yachts.
We're underwater, so I just want to throw that disclaimer. But yeah, no, you've transitioned out of you know, the 9-to-5 life right now, and you're kind of doing your own thing. Kind of tell me a little bit about that. What's kind of happening in the life of Jameer Pond? So something that you're excited about.
Yeah.
What's to come?
Okay, well, I mean, I did transition. I was laid off.
You was like, okay.
I was laid off. I keep it a buck.
Yeah,
I was laid off. This is part of the story. Yeah. You know, I was laid off, and you know, a lot of people.
First of all, how did you feel after you got laid off?
I was shocked, but surprisingly, I was happy, and I was happy because I knew I wanted to leave, but then they did it first, and when I left, I was like, yo, this is amazing. Like, I'm ready. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna conquer the world now. But yo, grief is real, and I was exuding some of the 5 stages of grief. I don't know all of them off the rip, but I know it's like anger, you know, sadness. I went through all of them because, and you know, even like mild depression, because I spent 5.5 years giving myself to a company, giving everything I had to the point where I didn't want to be there anymore. And I just felt like devalued because they kind of shooed me along before I could hit them. They got me before I could get them.
They got you first.
They got me first.
It happens like that.
It happens like that sometimes. So I kind of threw myself in my work. No, you had.
No, well, I don't want to cut you off, but I want to make sure I hit certain points.
Yeah.
That happened, right? And you said you were happy. You went through that stage of, you know, being sad and, you know, angry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You felt devalued. And then after that feeling went away, what happened next?
Well, I'll be honest, that feeling is still reminiscent of that feeling. I mean, I think now I'm able to openly talk about it, and I think now it's getting better. But that feeling was there up until now. Basically, it's just really coming down where I can really see who I am and see like the value of me. Like I said, I felt devalued because I was working for a brand, and having a brand work for me in some instances, but I wanted to be a part of that brand so bad and make my mark and feel like I've left something. And when you have that feeling and a chip on your shoulder, and then it's taken away from you, there's no kind of closure, at least on your own terms. You know what I'm saying?
What did you learn from being laid off?
Woo. I learned that it's really, really, really okay to sit back and go, let me process this. Just for your own mental health, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, we don't even realize how much we give until it's gone. I gave a lot. And other people at that company too, they give a lot on a daily basis. And one thing that you learn the value of hard work, you learn trades, you learn just not one aspect of journalism, but a whole bunch. And I was grateful for the opportunity. And what that taught me afterwards is that it's okay to mourn, but also don't sit in your pity. You got to get up, you got to transition. You have to give yourself time to build yourself back, but in the meantime, you don't want to slip into this pocket of self-soaking, of, well, you know, I should have been this, I should have been that, you know, I could have been, you know, I should have, you know, take the ego, put it on the mantle for a minute, understand that this happened, and bust your ass to get to the next point in your life. And that's the transition period that I'm in now. I'm not ashamed of taking hard work, grunt work, working my way back and even better to where I was before. Because if you think you saw the best of me prior, the best is yet to come.
That's big. That's big. So now you're working on projects. Give me one of the projects that you're working on now. That well, before you do that, you had an event maybe about I think it was last year where it was your first big event at Kinfolk. Do you remember what that was?
My first big event at Kinfolk.
It was a motivational event.
Oh no, that was at WeWorks.
Oh, that was at WeWorks.
Okay, yeah, it's at WeWorks.
I got it wrong. Yeah, at WeWorks. Okay.
Shout out to Kinfolk though. We do a lot of work there, but
that's coming next.
That is okay.
Okay, it was at WeWorks.
Yeah, it was at WeWorks. It was called Secure the Dream.
Secure the Dream. I love that.
Secure the Dream was something that I felt was necessary because it was so many people, including myself, scared of failing and afraid in general. There was this fear stigma that you couldn't get past a certain level because it was fear. And I've had troubles with it. I've had to push past it, but I also noticed a lot of people were experiencing the same thing. So I felt like there was a need with it. So I partnered up with the good people at Driven Society. Shout out to the amazing men and women a part of Driven Society. And I told them my vision. I told them what I wanted to do. And it was a free event, but I put it out, and in the first day it was already like sold out. So I'm like, wow, like clearly this is a need for it. And what we talked about was how to push past fear, how to not let fear cripple you, how to keep a good circle around you, how to keep your circle tight as far as people who support you, and how to build a foundation off of 3 or 4 things that you love doing. And since then, I still got people coming up to me and being like, because of you, I have a dream journal, which I learned from the Disney Dreamers Academy. Have a dream journal where you can write down things that you want to do.
Absolutely. I try to journal every single day.
That's what I'm saying. I got to get back to it. Talking about practice what you preach, I got to get back to it. You know what I'm saying? So it was just a need for it.
Yeah.
And I felt like, okay, well, we can continue doing this, and I haven't given up. I wanted to live life a little bit. And the next one that I'm going to do is about getting up after a big L.
So you're basically continuing to live your truth.
Oh yeah. You have to.
I love that. I think the easiest thing to preach about is your truth. Yeah. Right. So we see through social media and through all these other platforms so many people winning. Yeah. Quote unquote. Yeah. Right. And it's really hard to really decipher what's real and what's not. Right. Because everyone always wants to show the good. They rent cars or take photos.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
The fact that you're doing this is, number one, it's absolutely amazing. So salute to you. Kind of want to go through one more thing because I don't want to make this too long. Okay. Because you have a lot of good stuff. I know you got places to be. You're the man.
I'm not. I'm taking the PATH train after this. All right. That's ain't no limo coming to pick me up. That's all I'm saying. I am regular.
So you're working on you got a few things you're working on. Yeah. Now, let's speak about, I'll kind of give you have a show and you have a podcast. Let's do Dropping Gems, because I absolutely love your Dropping Gems series that you did on Instagram. Yeah. So kind of tell me a little bit about Dropping Gems. I know you did a live show, last week?
Not last week. I did a live show in April.
Oh, it was in April?
Did a live show in April,
wow. Okay.
I appreciate it. It's still current. Look, it's still current.
I saw it again recently. Okay, so you did a live show in April. Yeah. Kind of tell me a little bit about where the idea came from, because before you did the live show, you were dropping gems. Yeah. It was daily or weekly?
Yeah, it was daily. That was a lot. Yeah.
I saw up to 70 something or 60 something.
Yeah, it was up there.
You dropping a lot of gems. You was dropping a lot of gems. So kind of tell me where that inspiration came from, and what's your vision for it now? Yeah.
Well, Dropping Gems was something that I wanted to do because I felt like I was stuck at a job where it was a love-hate relationship. And I was talking to a friend of mine, I want to leave. And they were like, well, before you leave, did you pimp them out? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, yo, did you utilize your resources there to blow up your own stuff? And I was like, nah. He was like, well, before you leave, take that opportunity. Yeah. And so for, some weeks, I would just sneak into the back studio at my job. Like when there was downtime, I snuck into the back studio, grabbed the camera, grabbed the microphone, and asked my homies to like adjust the levels and make sure I didn't look too short. You know what I'm saying? Make sure it came a nice height, like right here. And you know, I shot a week worth of things that I felt like were gym worthy. And I mean by gym worthy, whether it's something going on at work, whether it's relationship, whether it's just personal. You know, I've talked about a lot of things. I've been jumped before, you know what I'm saying? I've been through heartbreaks. I've been through, you know, being promiscuous, you know? But I feel like the whole thing about living your truth, and it stems back from me going back to Jameer Pond, is that there's people who need this information and who use it as entertainment, but also people who use it for like life lessons. And so as it started to progress, I knew that I wanted to progress, and I wanted to cancel what I did on a daily basis and make it bigger. So the first live show that I did at Kinfolk, actually,
that was at Kinfolk.
Yeah, that was at Kinfolk, and it was called Dropping Gems, and it was a live podcast, and we had Sydney Michelle, who is a journalist and a on-camera correspondent. We had Scotty Beam, who is also an on-camera correspondent and 1/5 of the Black Girls podcast, which is amazing. And we had Ashley Acuna, who is the moderator and creator of The Grapevine, which is an amazing show featuring a lot of black millennials. And so I wanted to talk with them about women in the digital space and how they have built their brands based off of, you know, just hard work, dedication, much like ourselves, but from a black woman's perspective. And again, I'm so surprised that the room was packed. It was filled. People loved it. And I was like, well, I'm going to start doing this. So I'm currently planning the next episode. And I don't want, you know, people have been asking me, like, when is it going to happen again? It's going to happen soon. We just want to make it right, you know, so we want to make sure it's cool. So Dropping Gems I see as somewhere that's not just going to be monolithic, and it's going to live and continue getting bigger and bigger. So 2 important things that you spoke about there in that. And the first one is utilizing the job that you had that you didn't like at the time, and making it work for you, right? A lot of times, you know, we're at places that we can't stand and we check out, right? We check out. And you decided, you know, even though you had your exit plan, they let you go first, but you decided to make the job work for you. So, you know, really kind of keep that in mind. If you're at a place, you still gotta give it your all, and you gotta make it work for you. The second thing is, would you continue to put in work? Would you posting Dropping Gems on Instagram for however many months it was? Your audience, right? Sometimes we don't really fathom how big our audience actually is and how many people are actually watching what we do. That's the truth, right? I think that's the biggest. You think like, nah, I can't sell out this room. Also, 100 seats. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Oh, I'm always worried about that, bro. Always.
And you never know. As long as you continue to put out good content, as long as you continue to really give value to people for free without charging, like you just did this. You know, people will support and people will, you know, look out for you and want to, whether it's attend events, buy apparel, support your brand, like whatever that looks like.
That's very true.
Those are 2 really, really important keys that I got from what you said, and I think that's absolutely amazing, man. Before I do let you go, how does it feel to be on the other side? I'm curious, how does it feel to be on the other side?
I mean, this is always weird just because like I'm an interviewer by nature, but you know, anytime I get to talk about myself, it's kind of like weird because I'm like, I haven't done enough to be on this side of the interview. But sometimes you have to, you know, relish in your success, whether it's small portions or whether it's the whole meal. You know, I have to acknowledge the fact that I am worthy and that I am doing things that are building my brand and building myself into a name that I'm proud of. So, you know, sometimes you gotta smell the flowers. And even though sometimes I don't deserve to be, you know, on the other side, I'm appreciative that I get to, no pun intended, drop gems for people, you know what I'm saying? So that they can, you know, pick them up and get some value.
You know, definitely. I mean, you dropped a ton of gems here, so I appreciate that.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
And you know, you've had a lot of great success from, you know, the people that you've interviewed to you know, what you're currently doing now. So it's definitely not a small feat. Tell the people how to kind of find you, because I'm sure people are gonna want to see the Day 20. Go check out his Day 26 interview and him singing.
Yo, shout out to the guys, man. We're gonna get this tour thing together. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be on the 4th leg. There ain't even 4 legs, but I'm being on the 4th leg of the tour coming up soon.
And they can find you at?
You guys can find me at It's Jameer, ITSJAMEER, on Twitter and Instagram. And if there are any women that are over 40 and feeling frisky, you can follow me on Facebook because I know you're there at Jameer Pond. Love y'all, love y'all.
All right, man. I definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much. Yo, guys, the 1% Mindset Podcast. I'm with my man Jameer. He's doing a lot of big things. Go check him out, man. Peace.
Peace.